Oh, that's a huge question. Jazz for me is the moment where musicians decided that there were no rules in a way. So people like Louis Armstrong and Kid Ory and Bunk Johnson, they just said, we can free music in terms of the rhythm and the melody, and so there were no boundaries anymore. So it means everything. Oh, well, I have my radio show, which kind of keeps me out of trouble. I get to program 3 hours of music for that, and I do play a lot of those aforementioned artists on the radio show, so I cover all the genres. I love jazz. Jazz itself is such a wide genre. You get the old school stuff, and then there's a whole splay of different genres that comes under the banner jazz. I know it's fun, and I have a BBC World Service radio show that I get to do, and I'm also putting another band together at the moment, more in the, perhaps a bit more jazz, I'm not sure. But to be honest with you, I don't ever like to put music too much into a department or compartment anyway. It was it Duke Ellington that said there was only two kinds of music, the good and the other kind. And that's pretty much how I look at music as well. Which new artist am I excited about? I love Kate Le Bon's new album. That's not particularly jazz, but it's pretty surreal in terms of lyrics. She seems to me like a very interesting lyricist, more like a surrealist poet than a singer-songwriter, which is a refreshing change for me anyway, from my years. Gosh, in terms of jazz, Kamasi Washington put out a great album. God, you put me on the spot now. I love a ton of things. Lack of Afro is springing to mind, but that's not really jazz either. That's more like a soul dance kind of thing. But I like it all. Hell, there's some great music out there. It's difficult now for me to say anything because the world has changed and the music industry has changed beyond recognition. If there's any advice to be given, I would probably say try and copyright your stuff and keep your rights. Read contracts and always know they're negotiable. So don't sign anything like many of us in my generation were just like, yeah, no, it's okay. Let somebody else look over it, but get somebody you trust to look over it and don't sign it if it doesn't suit you, because that's all you've got is your creations, and they are worth something. Yeah, I'm in the Prince kind of party where I don't use Spotify and I don't allow my music to be used without something in return, because I do believe in the old equation. If I make something, if I bake a cake, I can't open a shop and put all my cakes out into the shop and allow people to walk in and take them for free. So, I'm a tiny artist, tiny little fish in a massive ocean, but if we all stand together, things will begin to change.